is a truth that nobody likes to admit, but it needs to be said. Childhood abandonment doesn't heal on its own. It transforms. It becomes a fear of loving, difficulty trusting, a constant need for approval, or that strange feeling that you're never enough, no matter how much you achieve. And you know what's most cruel? Most people who carry this wound don't even realize they're bleeding every day. They only feel the pain, but they don't understand where it comes from. If you grew up without the emotional or physical presence of one or both parents, you've probably wondered why it's so hard to relax in relationships, why you sabotage good things when they're going well, or why it always seems like you're proving your worth to others. The answer isn't that you're weak, problematic, or too difficult. The answer lies in an emotional programming that was installed when you were just a child, trying to understand why mom or dad didn't stay. Now, take a deep breath, because what you're about to discover isn't about blaming anyone. It's about understanding how the mind of someone who has experienced abandonment works, and more importantly, how you can rewrite that story to live a full, connected, and free life. Because yes, it is possible. When a child is abandoned, whether through physical or emotional absence, or through neglect, disguised as "I was busy working," something very specific happens in their brain. The nervous system goes into survival mode. And here's the detail that changes everything. This survival mode doesn't automatically shut off when you become an adult. It continues running in the background, like an app that drains your battery without you realizing it. Let's be clear, a child doesn't have the cognitive capacity to understand that their father or mother left because of their own issues, immaturity, personal problems, addictions, or selfishness. The child can only process one thing: I wasn't enough for them to stay. And this devastating conclusion becomes the lens through which they see the entire world. It becomes the central narrative of their life. So you grow up with this unconscious idea that you need to be better, do more, be perfect to deserve love. You develop a pattern of behavior where you're always overtreating in relationships, always giving more than you receive, always afraid that if you falter, the person will leave. Because deep down in your nervous system, there's still that 5-year-old child thinking they weren't good enough. And then the cycle begins. You attract emotionally unavailable people because it's familiar to you. It's not that you like to suffer. It's that your brain recognizes this pattern as home. It's strange, but it's true. We tend to seek what we know, not what is healthy. You get involved with someone distant, who doesn't value you, who disappears for days, who doesn't commit, and you kill yourself trying to win this person over because, deep down, if you manage to get them to stay, you prove to that inner child that this time you are enough. But it never works, does it? Because you're trying to heal a 30-year-old wound with the validation of someone who can barely validate themselves. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. No matter how much water you throw in there will always be that emptiness. Now, let's get practical. How does this manifest in everyday life? In various ways, and each person reacts differently. Some develop what psychologists call anxious attachment. These people live on an emotional roller coaster in their relationships. They need constant contact, confirmation all the time to know where the person is, who they are with, what they are doing, not because they are controlling by nature, but because abandonment has taught them that if you take your eyes off them for a second, the person disappears. On the other hand, there are those who develop avoidant attachment. These people do the opposite. They build very high walls around their hearts. They don't let anyone get really close. They have superficial relationships. They don't commit. they always maintain a planned emergency exit. Why? Because if you don't get attached, it won't hurt when the person leaves. It's a protection strategy that makes perfect sense when you understand its origin. And then there's disorganized attachment, which is a chaotic mix of the two. People desperately want intimacy, but when someone gets close, they panic and push them away. It's that classic come here, but not too close. Imagine the confusion this causes, not only for those on the outside, but especially for those experiencing it on the inside. Let's take a concrete example. Think of Maria. At 6 years old, her father simply disappeared. He didn't call anymore, didn't send letters, didn't pay child support, nothing. Her mother did what she could, but she was emotionally broken and worked 3 shifts to support the household. Maria grew up beautiful, intelligent, capable. She graduated in business administration, got a good job, and built a successful life in everyone's eyes. But in relationships, Maria always chose men who, in some way, were unavailable. The last one was married, promised he would separate, but never did. Before him, there was one who lived in another city and only showed up once a month. Before that, a musician who lived on the road and barely responded to messages. Do you think it's a coincidence? It's not. Maria's nervous system was trying to recreate the known pattern. Men who don't stay, until she started therapy and understood what she was doing. It wasn't easy. She spent months resisting, saying that the therapist was traveling, that she was just unlucky, that all men were the same. But little by little, the pieces began to fit together. She realized that she avoided available men because they scared her. When someone who was really interested appeared, wanting to build something serious, she would find some flaw and end it before things got too deep. The book, The Body Keeps the Marks, by Bessel van der Kolk, masterfully explains how childhood traumas are literally stored in the body. It's not just a memory in your head, it's a neurological programming that triggers automatic reactions. When you were abandoned, your body learned that proximity means danger, because proximity was followed by pain. So today, even as an adult, when someone tries to get really close, your heart races, you feel a tightness in your chest, a desire to run away. Your body is protecting you from what it has learned to be dangerous. And there's more. Those who have been abandoned often develop a complicated relationship with their own identity. You know that feeling of never really knowing who you are? Of changing your personality depending on who you're with. This happens because you learned early on that being yourself wasn't enough. So you become a chameleon, always adjusting, always trying to be what the other person needs, so you don't get left behind again. This manifests itself in subtle ways. You agree with opinions that aren't yours. You stay quiet when you should speak. You negate yourself for the sake of the other person. You agree to do things you dislike just to keep the person around. And the saddest part, you don't even realize you're doing it because it's become automatic. Let's talk about self-esteem now, because it's directly affected. When your own parents didn't stay, how can you believe that other people will? How can you believe you deserve anything good? The unconscious logic is devastating. If even the one who gave birth to me didn't want me, why would anyone else want me? This translates into accepting crumbs. You settle for the bare minimum because you think you don't deserve more. That relationship with a person only contacts you in the middle of the night. You accept it. That friend who only remembers you when they need something. You help them. That boss who exploits and devalues you, you put up with it because deep down, part of you thinks that's what you're worth. Peter Levine, in his book, Waking the Tiger, talks about how the body processes trauma. He explains that animals in nature, when faced with extreme threats, tremble and shake their bodies afterward, literally releasing the energy of the trauma. But humans don't do that. We swallow it, repress it, bury it, and that traumatic energy gets trapped in the nervous system, creating physical and emotional symptoms years later. Those who have been abandoned carry a huge burden of unprocessed energy. It's anger that was never expressed. It's sadness that was never fully cried out. It's terror that was never safely felt. All of this is stored up and leaks out in the form of anxiety, depression, panic attacks, insomnia, autoimmune diseases, and chronic muscle tension. Have you ever noticed how some people who have been abandoned develop a compulsive need for control? They need to plan everything, anticipate everything, have backups for everything. It seems like paranoia, but it's protection. If you control all the variables, theoretically, no one will catch you by surprise. No one will abandon you without you being prepared. Of course, it doesn't work like that in real life, but try explaining that to the nervous system of a 7-year-old child that still lives inside you. There's also the phenomenon of self-sabotage. It seems contradictory, but it makes sense when you understand the mechanics. Are you in a relationship that's going well? Your brain panics. Wait, this isn't familiar. When is it going to go wrong? I better end it before the person abandons me. That way, at least, I control when the pain will arrive. And you start a fight out of nowhere, or distance yourself, or do something you know will push the other person away. It's not stupidity. It's the nervous system trying to keep you in the familiar zone, even if it's painful. Now, what to do with all this? Because so far I've talked a lot about the problem, but where's the solution? First, you need to recognize the pattern, and that's not as obvious as it seems. Most people live these patterns on autopilot their whole lives. They go from relationship to relationship, job to job, city to city, always repeating the same dynamics, without ever stopping to see that the only common denominator in all these situations is themselves. So you sit down and take an honest inventory. Look at your past relationships. What's the pattern? Do you always choose emotionally unavailable people? Are you always the one who loves more? Do you always end up thinking you weren't good enough? Write it down. Put it on paper. Because when it's only in your head, it's easy to distort, deny, minimize. Second, you need to make peace with that abandoned child. And this isn't cheap self-help talk. It's neuroscience. The part of your brain that stores these traumatic memories doesn't work with adult logic. You can spend years repeating to yourself, I am enough. I deserve love. But if you don't access that primitive part of the brain and offer it a new experience, nothing changes. How do you do that? There are several techniques. One of the most powerful is the practice of You literally become the father or mother you needed to have had. When that inner critic voice appears saying that you are worthless, you consciously respond with the voice of a loving parent. I see you. I accept you. You are enough exactly as you are. It seems silly at first, but with repetition, you will literally be reconfiguring neural circuits. The book Brilliant Parents, Fascinating Teachers by Augusto Cury offers powerful insights into how a child's mind works and how we can reprogram destructive patterns. He talks about the importance of managing emotions, questioning automatic thoughts, and not being a victim of one's own history. Third point, therapy is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Primarily something like EMDRI movement, desensitization, and reprocessing, which is proven to be effective for trauma, or cognitive behavioral therapy focused on trauma, or systemic therapy. The point is, you need professional help to navigate these waters, because doing it alone is like trying to operate on your own appendix. You can try, but it's not recommended. And here's a hard truth. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting or accepting what was done to you. It means releasing the poison you've been taking, hoping the other person will die. Do you carry anger towards the father or mother who abandoned you? Fair enough. You have a right to that anger. But while you carry it, who is suffering? It's not your father who is sleeping badly at night. It's you. Forgiving is a selfish act in the best sense of the word. You forgive to free yourself, not to ease the conscience of the person who hurt you. And forgiving doesn't mean resuming contact or pretending that everything is okay. It can simply mean accepting that that person did the best they could with the emotional resources they had at the time, even if their best was awful for you. Another crucial thing, you need to start choosing differently. If you've always chosen unavailable people, the next time someone available appears and you feel that discomfort, that urge to run away, you take a deep breath and stay. You don't run away. You sit with the discomfort. Because what is uncomfortable is not necessarily bad. Sometimes it's just different, new, unknown. Learn to identify healthy people. They exist. People who communicate, who are consistent, who have emotional intelligence, who value you. At first, they will seem boring to you. Seriously. Because there's no drama, no roller coaster, no adrenaline rush of will he answer me? But that's not a lack of passion. That's health. And you need to train your brain to recognize health as attractive. Read about attachment. The books Attached by Amir Levine and Hold Me Tight by Sue Johnson are excellent. They explain attachment styles clearly and give you practical tools to develop a secure attachment, even if you didn't have that in childhood. And look, you will relapse. There will be times when you will choose wrong again. You will sabotage yourself again. You will feel that old anxiety again. That's normal. Growth is not linear. It's 2 steps forward, 1 steppy back. The important thing is that you are aware, that you realize when you are relapsing, and that you gently redirect yourself. Start practicing vulnerability little by little. Share something true about yourself with someone you trust. See what happens. Probably the person won't judge you, won't abandon you, won't use it against you. And every time you have this experience of being truly seen and still being accepted, you will heal that wound. Set boundaries. This is huge. People who have been abandoned usually don't know how to set boundaries because they're afraid that if they say no, the person will leave. So you accept disrespect, you accept being treated badly, you accept crumbs. Learn to say no. Start with small things. No, I don't want to go to that place. No, I can't lend you money again. No, I don't accept being treated like this. It will be uncomfortable. It will seem like you're being difficult. But you are respecting yourself. And you know what's revolutionary? When you start doing this, the right people stay. The wrong ones leave. And then you realize you are wasting time trying to keep people who shouldn't even be in your life. Work on your emotional independence. Develop hobbies, interests, friendships outside of the relationship. Build a life that is fulfilling even without a romantic partner. Because when you depend on someone for your happiness, you give that person enormous power and you become a hostage. But when you are whole on your own and the relationship is just a compliment, a cherry on top, you choose to be with someone because you want to, not because you need to, and that changes everything. Meditate. Do body therapy, practice yoga. Anything that connects you with the present, with your body, with your breath, because you spend so much time living in the past, reliving the abandonment, or in the future, fearing the next abandonment, that you forget to live now. And life is now. It's not tomorrow. It's not when you're completely healed. It's not when you find the perfect person. It's now. Thich Nhat Hanh has a book called The Miracle of Mindfulness that teaches simple but powerful techniques for being present. It's worth every page. So look, if you've made it this far, it's because something resonated. Maybe you saw yourself in these words. Maybe you recognized someone close to you. Or maybe you're starting to understand your own behaviors that never made sense before. The question remains, and now, are you going to close this text and go back to autopilot, repeating the same patterns for the next 10 years? Or are you going to have the courage to look at this wound head-on, however much it hurts, and begin the healing work? Because look, nobody is going to do this for you. A prince or a princess isn't going to magically appear and heal your abandonment trauma. There's not going to be a meeting with your father or mother where everything is resolved and you hug and the problems end. Real life doesn't work like that. What will happen is you will need to peel back this wound layer by layer, day after day, choice after choice. It will be difficult. It will hurt. There will be days when you will want to give up. But do you know what happens on the other side of this process? Freedom. You are finally free to love without fear, to show yourself without masks, to be who you really are without thinking you need to deserve to exist. So, answer me. Are you ready to do things differently? To make healthy choices even when uncomfortable? To commit to your own growth as if your life depended on it? Because it does, you know. I want you to stop now and think, what is the first step you can take today? It could be scheduling therapy. It could be messaging someone and opening up about something you've never talked about. It can simply be acknowledging aloud, I was abandoned and it affected me. It doesn't matter how big the step is. What matters is that it's a step. And if you want to continue learning about how to heal emotional wounds, how to build healthy relationships, how to become the best version of yourself, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because there's much more content coming, many more tools, many more truths that no one dares to speak, but that everyone needs to hear. Your story doesn't end with abandonment. It begins there. And you have the power to write the next chapters in a completely different way. The question is, will you